Oh, oh. Hey, sorry you guys. I've been working on a case recently. Oh, I'm here though for the review. Okay, I got my wand at the ready. Okay, so right now I'm reviewing every single movie in the Harry Potter spin-off series, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, starring Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander, a student that was in Hufflepuff at Hogwarts, but was expelled for endangering a student with a dangerous animal. Although his headmaster, Albus Dumbledore, argued against his expulsion. So, the Harry Potter franchise was very successful. This new series is about adults that are wizards. It takes this first movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It takes place in New York in America, something that none of the Harry Potter films have done before, which is cool. Newt Scamander is coming right off the boat in New York, and he's getting off the boat, and he has to go through customs, and he puts in Muggle-proof his case. He makes sure it's Muggle-proof, so that he doesn't get in trouble, and no one is suspicious that he's a wizard. And so you have Catherine Waterston as Tina, who is a Auror, and works for MACUSA, which is the Magical Congress of the United States of America. And so Newt Scamander, he's doing a field study in the wild about fantastic beasts and creatures, making a book about why we should understand them and not kill them, which is pretty cool. He has a noble cause. And so he goes to this bank, and there's this like Salem witch trial type of people that are like really afraid of magic and wizards, and they think it's evil, and they're protesting at a rally, and Tina is there, and Dan Fogler, that plays Jacob Kowalski, he's there to get a loan for his bakery at the bank. So they all meet up at this bank, and Newt Sniffler gets free, escapes, and it's causing havoc in the bank. And so then once Tina discovers Newt, she takes him to the magic world in New York, which is like a different thing. And we have Colin Farrell that plays Graves, who is like the bad guy basically. And they switch cases on accident. Dan Fogler and Eddie Redmayne, Newt and Jacob, they switch cases on accident, and Jacob accidentally lets all of his creatures loose. So basically the crux of the whole movie is they're trying to find these fantastic beasts and capture them and put them back in the case. And that's basically what the whole movie is. It's the first two acts. And then, starting near the third act, is when things get incredibly darker. We realize that these second Salemers, the leader of them, which is the mom, there's Credence, Modesty, and Chastity, they're brothers and sisters. She's been abusing Credence, like, really badly, and has been brainwashing these children into hating magic and stuff, which is sort of has to do with racism and stuff. And Graves is looking for a child, but it turns out the big twist at the end is that everybody's favorite actor, Ezra Miller, is in this. And it turns out the big twist is that he is an Obscurus, or Obscurial, which means he was a wizard that suppressed his magic and became so powerful that he's a dark, parasitic, destructive force that he can't really control. Like in the movie, Graves says, I owe you an apology, Credence. You can control it. And then Esmeralda's like, I'm not sure I want to, Mr. Graves. Then he goes crazy, starts destroying the whole city, and then they kill him. The Makuza, the Aurors come and kill him. And then Graves is like really pissed off. He's like, history will know that what you did here today. And he starts talking crazy, saying like, getting really political, saying like, because the whole thing is with the government and the Makuza, they don't want the Muggles, or the No-Maj is what they call them in this, to know that they exist. Otherwise they'll be exposed and it means war for the entire world. And so Graves starts talking this political stuff, and then the queen, or the president, Madam President, realizes he's out of line. So she says, please relieve Mr. Graves of his wand and escort him back to the precinct or whatever. And then he gets really mad, and then they all start like setting spells towards him, casting spells at him, and he's just blocking them all. He's super powerful. He's looking right at the president, going straight for the president. Then Newt uses Swooping Evil, which is one of his creatures, and restrains him, and then he says Revelio, which reveals who you are. And it turns out that Colin Farrell, that was playing Graves this whole time, the big twist at the end is that he is Johnny Depp. He's Grindelwald, which is like the big new villain. He's like basically like Hitler, and he has all these followers that want to start war with the No-Majs. They're racist. They believe that the magical people, wizards, are superior to Muggles, which is very racist, and it's really bad. Okay, so in Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, we pick up where we left off last time, where everyone is looking for Credence. It turns out he survived. Everyone's favorite person, Ezra Miller, is somewhere in Paris, and they have to find him. Everyone's trying to get to him. We finally get to see young Albus Dumbledore, played by Jude Law. He is great in this, great as Dumbledore, as a young Dumbledore. And people think he looks really good, apparently. But so he requests Newt's service, and he goes and meets with Newt and tells him it's really important that you find Credence. And then he like disappears or apparates or whatever. And so Grindelwald is going on a killing spree, just killing people, and he believes it's all for the greater good. And oh yeah, Dumbledore is talking to Newt. He's like, yeah, I would do it myself, but I can't. And Newt's like, why can't you? And he's like, I just can't. It has to be you. And so we also have Zoe Kravitz is in this as Lita Lestrange. Amazing, beautiful woman. She's great as always. Newt sort of had a crush on her at Hogwarts, but she's with Theseus Scamander, Newt's older brother, who's a war hero, and he's like an assassin or whatever. He hunts down bad people. And they basically say, Newt, you need to hunt down Credence, or we're going to send a bad guy after him. And Newt's like, I'm not going to hunt down Credence. So, and then it turns out Nagini is a woman that can transform into a snake, which is interesting. And basically it all concludes in this political rally that Grindelwald has for all his followers. He gives a great speech, and I say it's a great speech. It's a very racist, and it's basically like a rant. And it's weird. The reason why Grindelwald is so dangerous is because he can persuade people and make them understand his side of the cause, his perception, his perspective, and turn them to be on his side, which is not good. And so he's basically like Hitler, okay? So he basically says, if you don't join me and kill muggles, no-Majs, non-magical people, then we're going to start World War II. And this, of course, freaks everyone out. And they're like, oh, we just had a war. We don't want there to be another war. And so this leads to that. And then for some reason, this protester bystander in the crowd at the rally gets killed. And then they all disapparate, all the wars in Makuza and all the followers and protesters, where it's just Grindelwald and the main characters left. And then he basically makes what I believe to be is fiend fire, and he makes a circle of blue flames and says, step into this circle and join me. And yeah, he wants everyone to join him in the circle. And then Credence goes through the flames and joins him. And the way the flames work is, if you're loyal to Grindelwald, they won't burn you. If you're not loyal to him 100% in your heart, you will burn. And so the Native American guy tries to walk through and he just burns up into flames, because earlier he was like, you mean you want me to kill the great Albus Dumbledore? And then Grindelwald was like, what do you mean great? So Credence goes in there, and then Jacob and Queenie are talking to each other, and then Queenie's like, I'm gonna join him, and he's like, what? You're crazy. And then she goes and joins and walks through the flames and joins him. So now Crazy's on the dark side. Queenie is on the dark side. And so Newt and his brother Theseus start trying to fight the Fiendfire, and then all of a sudden Lita Lestrange shows up, and then she gives a cool speech and talks to Grindelwald, and then she looks at the two brothers and she's like, I love you. And then she tries to fight Grindelwald and then tries to walk through the flames. I don't know what she was doing, but she tries to walk through the flames and she dies. Which sucks, because it's the first movie we got to see with her, and she just dies. So, and then Nicholas Flamel shows up and he's like, everybody put your wands into the ground or all the Paris will be destroyed. Something like that. So they do it. They defeat the Fiendfire. And then Grindelwald disapparates with Credence. And then you see that they're in Nurmengard, which is like in Austria or something, or Russia. I can't remember where. But it's Grindelwald's home base, his headquarters, you know, where he does his evil stuff. And then Newt gets this MacGuffin thing that's like a trinket, a pendant thing, like a necklace thing that's really important later. And they go to Hogwarts and they're like, let's talk over a cup of tea, hide the teaspoons. And then I remember seeing this in theaters. Everyone was freaking out because like it was a crazy twist. The literal last seconds of the movie are Grindelwald talking to Credence. He gives him a wand. He says, I now restore to you the rightful name that you own. Your name is Aurelius Dumbledore. And then Credence is like super happy that he has a wand. And he's like, she casts a spell at a mountain, like blows up the whole mountain, and then that's it. It just cuts to black. Huge cliffhanger ending. Okay, so Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore opens up with Newt Scamander in the forest, and Credence, and now has long hair. Ezra Miller, everyone's favorite, has super long hair now, which is cool, I guess. And they're hunting down Newt, and they're after this MacGuffin creature called the Chillin, which is really important. And then so this movie starts out with, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a pocket dimension or like a hallucination or I don't know what, but It starts out with Dumbledore and Grindelwald sitting in a cafe having a drink together, tea or something, coffee, and they're discussing their political beliefs, and they're like, back when we were teenagers, we used to love each other, and we were all about the greater good, and what happened to you, why did you change, and all that, and they have their differences, but they still love each other, and then everything catches on fire, and then that's that. So this whole movie is basically about election fraud. They're going to have this huge election to decide the new head of the magical world and the president, basically. And for some reason, they allow Grindelwald, a criminal, to run for office to be a president, and he has all these followers now that are like shooting up fireworks in his colors and stuff. And then he goes out in the crowd, and everyone like loves him or whatever, I guess, even though he's evil. And so at one point we get this huge confrontation battle between Ezra Miller and Jude Law, Dumbledore, Credence versus Dumbledore, and this battle is insane. Apparently, Dumbledore won the battle before it even began because he did some sort of trickery magic with a water drop or something. I have no idea what happened, and I've seen the movie like over 10 times. But and then they go into this pocket dimension again, and then he's like, "I'm gonna tell you the truth. You are a Dumbledore, but he's been lying to you. You're not my brother. You are the son of Aberforth Dumbledore. It was a secret child that he had." And he says, "I'm here to help you. Let's not fight. Come with me and you'll have a father." So Credence is like basically good now. They go to Hogwarts and they do this weird stuff with all these different cases. Everyone gets a case and we don't know which one's the real one. And they go to this election. Oh yeah, and then there's an attempt of an assassination of the president at some like fancy meeting. And that goes crazy. We learn that it gets exposed that Grindelwald was basically cheating. It's election fraud. He cursed the Children to choose him. The Children chooses the next leader. And the Children just dies, and they see that it was bewitched and cursed. And so then the Children chooses Dumbledore, but he's like, "I don't want to be president." And it chooses a different woman. And then as soon as Grindelwald realizes that he's failed, he uses the killing curse towards Credence, and then Aberforth and Dumbledore all cast spells at the same time to protect Credence, and all of their spells meet. Now this is cool because back in the day, a long, long time ago, so Dumbledore's sister, Ariana Dumbledore, was an Obscurus, and they got in an argument one night, Grindelwald, Dumbledore, and Aberforth as teenagers, and they all cast spells at each other, similar to like what happened at the end of the movie, and it ended up killing Ariana Dumbledore. They didn't know whose spell it was, but this time it connects, and then they go into this weird pocket dimension again, and they're fighting. And then all of a sudden we see the MacGuffin break. And the thing with the MacGuffin is, as long as it exists, because they did Grindelwald and Dumbledore as teenagers made a blood pact and put it in a necklace. That means that they cannot fight each other ever. And so we see this thing break, which means now that deal is off. And they can now fight each other. And so they come back to reality. Grindelwald makes a bubble shield around him. And then he just jumps off a cliff and disapparates. And then we see Jacob and Queenie get married. Tina finally shows up for Newt. But we see Dumbledore walk away at the very end of the movie all alone. And that's pretty deep, isn't it? So these movies were partially written by J.K. Rowling, the creator of Harry Potter, as well as it was directed and produced by David Yates and David Heyman. These movies visually are fantastic, no pun intended.